What is up, everybody, and welcome back. Today, we're diving deep into one of the wildest early moments in all of One Piece, Chapter 13. We've got a rubber man trapped in a cage, a pirate clown ready to end it all, and a plan that is about to go wrong in the best way possible. Let's do this!
So, the chapter kicks off with our hero, Luffy, in what looks like a totally impossible spot. I mean, seriously, what good are your rubber powers when you're locked up tight in a steel cage and a whole crew of angry pirates is about to finish you off? That's the puzzle, right?
And just to remind you how we got here, it all started when Nami did what she does best. She nabbed Buggy's super important map to the Grand Line. And Luffy, being Luffy, figured the most direct way to deal with it was to get captured on purpose. A flawless strategy, no notes.
Okay, so Luffy is officially trapped by a clown. Now, you'd think being at the mercy of a famously cruel pirate captain would be just a little bit stressful. But for Luffy, nah, he's just built different. And right away, we get this huge insight into who Luffy is. Look at this! While Nami and Zoro are having the totally normal human reaction of freaking out, Luffy is just laughing his head off, yelling about how he's not gonna die. This isn't just wishful thinking, it's this absolute ironclad faith he has in himself. He just knows things will work out. And you know what? Nami and Zoro have every reason to be scared. Buggy is not messing around here. He's mocking Luffy, lunging with a knife, and aiming to end this right now. From every possible angle, this looks like game over for our captain.
But even with a knife just inches from his face, what does Luffy do? He flashes this absolutely insane, confident grin and shouts, "I'm gonna take you down!" I swear. The nerve on this guy is just off the charts. He's totally helpless, but in his head, the fight's already won.
But here's the thing about Luffy's crazy confidence. It's not just for show. It's actually contagious. And it's the signal for his number one to finally make a move. Zoro is done watching from the sidelines.
While Nami is still panicked, Zoro just switches into gear. He gets into his fighting stance, totally ready to take on Buggy and his entire crew all by himself if that's what it takes to save his captain. I mean, talk about pure loyalty.
So Buggy sees Zoro getting ready, and he decides to speed things up. He turns to his giant pet lion, Richie, and just screams one of the most brutal orders imaginable. "Kill him, Richie!" The plan is literally to have a lion maul Luffy to death inside that tiny cage. But this is where everything goes completely hilariously wrong for Buggy's crew. This is the moment that gives this chapter its awesome name. The Unstoppable Rubber Man. Richie lunges, but instead of just biting Luffy, the lion's sheer strength completely obliterates the steel cage. Just like that, in one amazingly stupid, backfiring move, Buggy's own pet sets his biggest enemy free. You can't make this stuff up. And this moment right here perfectly captures Luffy's insane luck. He didn't even have to do anything. He just leaps out of the wreckage yelling Yahoo! The cage is finally opened, while literally everyone, friends and enemies, just stares in total disbelief.
So does Luffy stop to celebrate? Does he take a breath? Nope. The instant his feet hit the ground, he is on the attack, just decking one of Buggy's crew. And that tells you everything about him. The second Luffy gets an opening, he takes it. Zero hesitation.
And just like that, with Luffy free, the standoff is officially over. It is now time for an all-out brawl for Buggy's treasure and that all-important map.
Buggy is absolutely furious. His perfect evil plan was just ruined by pure dumb luck. He completely loses his cool and just screams, "Of course you realize! This means war!" The whole crew is now jumping into the fight.
And now, we get our first real taste of Buggy's chop-chop fruit powers. He literally detaches his hands and shoots them forward in an attack he calls the Bara Bara Cannon. It's so weird, it's totally unpredictable, and honestly, it's what makes him so dangerous.
And while Buggy is focusing all his weird powers on Luffy, Zoro is out there running interference. He basically becomes a one-man army, just tearing through the grunts so Luffy can focus on the big boss. It's our first look at how well these two already work together.
But Buggy is a pretty smart fighter, you have to give him that. He uses one of his detached hands to grab Luffy's face and hold him still, setting him up perfectly for an attack from his first mate, Kabaji the Acrobat, the dude on the unicycle. It's a classic 2-on-1 setup.
But, all this chaos is way more than just a cool fight scene. If we just pause for a second and take a closer look, this whole brawl tells us everything we need to know about these characters.
So what does a high-pressure, life-or-death fight really show you?
Well, as it turns out, it shows you who these people really are, deep down.
So here's the breakdown. Luffy's ridiculous confidence, it's not just a funny personality trait, it's the anchor for his entire crew. It gives Zoro the resolve to fight an army. Meanwhile, Buggy's flashy arrogance just completely falls apart the second things don't go his way, proving he's all talk when the pressure's really on.
And really, that's the big takeaway from this whole chapter. You can talk a big game all you want, but it's in the middle of total chaos that you really find out who someone is. And trust me, that's a theme that's going to come up again and again in One Piece.
But hang on, before we finish up, let's look at this one panel again. Buggy's hand is grabbing Luffy, but his body is all the way across the town square. It looks like it's just floating there. How does that even work? And more importantly, how do you fight a guy like that?
And that is the big question we're left with. How is a swordsman supposed to fight an opponent that he literally can't cut? We're going to break down Zoro's impossible fight against the Chop Chop Man in our next explainer on Chapter 14. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.